Okay. Okay, we are live on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Hi, this is Tony Renfro. I'm your host on Knowledge is Power podcast live. And on tonight, we've got one of the most dynamite, uh, strong man who walked in the shoes of the late Congressman Jack Brooks for a number of years. Truly represented the real District of 22 for the people. Not just holding a seat, but he did work very hard for District 22 for the Jefferson County and surrounding counties. Congressman Nicholas V. Lampson. Welcome, Nick. Come on aboard. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Tony. I'm great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me tonight. This is,
man.
I'm excited about being here.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. I'm really glad to have you. And it is a pleasure to just you being my guest tonight. And I want to make sure that everyone who's watching tonight, make sure you share this page, this podcast, Knowledge is Power. We on YouTube Live and Facebook. Well, now I have Nick here, Congressman Lampson. Can you please tell us if this district will ever get its identity back?
Well, the district and the history of the district, Southeast Texas, obviously played a major role in politics for many, many years in the state of Texas and in the United States, and it had some interesting things happen over time. You mentioned Jack Brooks, who occupied, actually at the time it was House District 9, and District 22 was the district over on the other side of Houston that I held when I ran against Tom DeLay, if you'll remember that, and maybe we can take just a second to get into it. This congressional district here in East Texas was centered around Beaumont. Beaumont was the centerpiece. It was what they used to call a standard metropolitan statistical area. And the area around Beaumont had about 500,000 people in it, even though Beaumont's population was around 120,000. It has been for the last 50 years. The people of the state of Texas treated Beaumont as a major area. And we had our own representatives. We had a congressman. We had state representatives, state senator, and we played a major role politically statewide, sometimes even providing the margin of victory for national candidates. I love the story that Jack Brooks always loved to tell when he said to John Kennedy, when he won the nomination to run for president, he said, Senator Kennedy, he said, my district in Southeast Texas will provide you the margin of your victory. Now, I'm not sure he knew what he was saying when he said it, but if you look at the vote in that year, John Kennedy won his election by 60,000 votes nationwide. That's one vote per precinct. And the margin of victory of John Kennedy over his opponent in Jefferson County and in 9th Congressional District was 60,000 votes. We could provide the turnout, the enthusiasm, the support for statewide and nationwide candidates and make a difference. And I'm hoping that that's something that's going to happen again. It was a thrill for me to be able to work for Jack Brooks as an intern in 1969, build a relationship with him that lasted for many years after, several decades after. And it was something that gave me the confidence to know that I could turn to him for help later when I served in that district as the U.S. representative. And we were able to make major improvements to our area, like creating, improving the Sabine Neches Ship Channel, building the saltwater barrier on the Neches River, making major highway and street improvements. the Concord extension, the Dowling Road extension, other kinds of infrastructure development, which it was exciting to be a part of. I could only do that because the people of the 9th Congressional District and later the 22nd Congressional District gave me that opportunity, supported me, chose to vote for me and keep me in office. And when I could listen and find out what the important issues were to you, the voter, then we were able to work together as a team and make things happen at the nation. At Nations, a couple of things that I'm excited about and pleased with through my service. One of them was the creation of the the Congressional Caucus on Missing and Exploited Children, and it was through that caucus that what we now know as the Amber Alert became a nationwide program. I was proud to play a major role in making that happen and saving children's lives. I was very proud to have a role to play in what has become the largest science project in the history of our country. It's something called the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer, and it is a particle physics project that is seeking knowledge to combat cancer. And it's a piece of equipment that is on the International Space Station as we speak. It's flying above the Earth and will continue to do so. I wrote the legislation that forced NASA to put that project on the International Space Station. Those are just a couple of the things that I'm very pleased and proud to have been a part of. And again, I credit only the folks that put me into this office with the ability to do that. When we work together, we can do magnificent things, Tony.
I know we can. We really can work if we work together. It's coming together. You know, I was just saying this earlier is that right now at this time we're doing a lot of talking. we marching, we protesting, we're coming, but we're not. How can I say the words? What I want to say? We're not the actions. We don't have that action. Where's the plan? Where we go from
We're
there?
not. There you go. Where's the plan? We're not making a plan. And I'm glad that you recognize that. You know, I was born. I've been around here in Beaumont for a long time, y'all. I grew up out in South Park, across the street from what used to be Giles Elementary School. Now it's a post office, and right down the street, 1 block away from what was Exporter Stadium. For those of you who are familiar with that part,
that's the old stadium. That's the Stadium Shopping Center. They don't know anything about that.
You don't, huh? Well, I had my knot hole, and I used to watch those games and catch the fly balls that came over the fence. It goes back that far, and I didn't know it then, but there was a line of demarcation that separated the 1 block away from where I live from the 1 block away from where a bunch of folks who didn't look like me lived. And I didn't understand that. I didn't know that. I didn't have the occasion to know until I got into college and graduated. And as a young teacher in what was then the South Park Independent School District, I was put into Forest Park High School, which is now
The middle school.
High school now.
Back off in South Park Middle School.
No, the old Forest Park High School. They had Westbrook, and then so, and it was during that time when there was another period that could have been an opportunity to bring us as a community closer together. White, black, at the time, Hispanics were not the population amount that they are today. But we were totally a separated community. And we began to see the differences that existed, and that part of our community perpetrated against the other part of our community. When I was at Forest Park High School, which was a brand new high school, we had new, clean books. We had comfortable classrooms that seated all of the students that we had in the classrooms. And it was decided that instead of integrating the student body, that the teacher body would be integrated. And so they decided to take 75%, 3/4 of the white teachers at Forest Park and send them to the predominantly black school, Hebert High School. I was one of those teachers. uh, 75% of the black teachers at Hebert were sent to Forest Park High School. Well, that really was my first true eye opener about differences of what we were doing to good people in our community. And I saw how we were not addressing the issues that people pleaded for. Drainage on the campus, fixing leaks in the buildings, the roofs, the walkways from one building to another, the quality of the educational learning tools that were there. It was noticeably different between the two. Well, I think that's also where I may have begun to learn some of my real politics, because I went straight to the principal and requested his assistance. And he said, look, I've been working on these issues for years. He said, and he said, I haven't been able to succeed. He said, if you think you can help, have at it. Well, I was a kid. I didn't know any better. Fresh out of college, I saw a problem. And so I started calling people. I'd call the news media. I'd call the school board. I'd ask them to come out and look at the flooded area. Look at the harmful, the slime growing in a pond outside of the classroom where I taught. And so I did something that was unique and interesting. I sent my biology students into that water to gather samples from it. And they brought it back to the classroom. They studied what was there, identified 23 living organisms, decided that 3 of them were harmful to the human body. And then after that biology lesson, I taught them a civics lesson. What do you want to do with what you found? And I gave them a list of things that they could do. And the one they picked was to take their findings to the Beaumont City Health Department. I helped them do that. They did it. They made their explanation. The city health department sent people to our school. They inspected the water, ran their own tests, and called the school district and said, your school is not opening tomorrow. The students did that, and the school did open, but only because the administration, which had balked for 12 years to fix that problem, in less than 2.5 hours, sent a crew out, dug a little tunnel underneath the sidewalk and a ditch over to the street and drained that area. It was both a science lesson and a civics lesson. And I think it has a lesson for us today. We can talk all we want about how we want things to be different, how we want to react to one another. Unless we come up with a plan and implement that plan with action, nothing will change. And today we're we're parked in a position where if we don't come up with a plan, we're doomed again. Now's an opportunity. Let's try our best to work together to move it.
You're absolutely correct. A friend of mine, Jerry Balls, sent me a text today, and it was a beautiful text, and I wish I could have that video to show that. It's about the disconnect. We have disconnect, but we need to reconnect so that we can move forward together. And we can't, I always say this every night when I'm on here is that we will come together. We can be unstoppable.
Oh my gosh. Unity, yes. There is total strength in unity.
Right. Well, then let me ask you this question then, Nick. If you were, tell me this. Now, I know you've been a congressman. You was a congressman. How many years?
8 years from the 9th Congressional District here in Beaumont, and 2 years from the 22nd Congressional District on the other side of Houston in Sugar Land.
Yes.
So 10 years total.
Right. Now, on this question here, I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you what. Can you tell us what's going on in this country right now? But tell the audience what your take is on policing policies that's being presented to Trump to sign by the caucus, and do you think he'll sign the bill?
Tony, I think we're playing politics with our policy. If you look at individual police departments, and question those departments about the specific policies that they have on a local basis, you'll find that they vary significantly. That question was asked Sunday, just 3 days ago, of our sheriff and our chief of police for Beaumont in front of a group of people in downtown Beaumont who were meeting over this same issue. And the sheriff gave a very thorough, both gave good answers, but the sheriff gave a very thorough answer. She says, what makes me angry is that people don't come and ask me what policy I have put into place for our sheriff's department. And that if you have suggestions on what needs to be done to put into place, let's meet as a community and work it out. And I think that's what we have to do. I think that, unfortunately, and I'll play a little bit of politics here, the President of the United States right now is not being a good leader for us. He is being a leader for himself. He's trying to promote himself into a re-election to the presidency of the United States. That is not what we have in our country. We have a participatory democracy where it's the people's decision to make the rules that govern our country, and he's supposed to be the implementer of those rules. Right now, he is being more like an anarchist, someone who is telling us the way things are going to be. And that's not the way I'm going to accept it as a citizen. I want to stand up and promote the things that I believe in. And the best way I believe that I can do that is, one, be respectful. I will hold myself out as best I possibly can as a good role model. If I treat you the way I want you to treat me, I expect that that's what's going to happen. And I don't think that we're doing that right now, particularly in politics. We are dividing our nation. There are those who want to see us divided. Why? Because that benefits the politicians. It benefits the people who are seeking office and trying to hold office or go back into office. It's got to be the people's will. And if we have competitive congressional districts and competitive state representative districts, then someone is always going to be trying to pull votes from the other side from where they are politically. And that's what makes us strong. And that's what helps us come up with the real ideas that are going to make policy in our police departments work, and work to the benefit of the people on the street, the people in our neighborhoods, the people in our families. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Back with Nick Lampson, former congressman of District 22 here in the Jefferson County area. People, I hope you watching this podcast. Nick is been around for a while. He has been right there by the size of the legend. I don't know if they know anything about the old legend, Jack Brooks. But Nick, you have done a fantastic job since you've been in this area, working for our community and our counties and our region, and been a representative for us. Now, I'm going to also have the audience to know that we share this video, this podcast with everyone that you know. Share it, and you can connect with me on my new Facebook Live, my Facebook page of Knowledge is Power, and also on YouTube, Knowledge is Power. So share the page. You can go back, look at it on YouTube, share with your group. It's very important that we share news. We share this knowledge with everyone in our community. This is this platform that we have here on Knowledge is Power. Our platform is to voice our opinion, voice our voices, and I hope that we can educate each other and share the good news that we have for all of us here in Jefferson.
Can I do one more thing while we're here?
Yes.
Can I just say that I have written a book that's entitled The Death of Washington's Democracy, and it's about the politics of our area and the politics of America, the division of our nation. And if you're interested in reading about this, you can get it at the website, which is www.thedeathofdemocracy.com, thedeathofdemocracy.com. You might find it interesting reading here. It has a little bit of history of our area, a little bit of history of me, but it talks about what came about that ripped our country apart and is causing us to have far, far apart extremes, the far left and the far right, and hopefully us beginning to recognize that the solution to our problems is in the middle. It's not to either of those two sides. Tony?
All right, we're there. Okay, I'm sorry. I remember the time I went off screen and mute myself. I was in that time with you when you transferred from Forest Park to Hubert.
Indeed.
You remember those days, I tell you. And I knew the condition because I had to catch the bus to go to Forest Park to learn computer.
Okay.
So they didn't have computer rooms in Hubert. That was unheard of.
Oh, you're right.
And it was like night and day. I'm leaving from the darkness and going to the light to see all this educational equipment, the technology that they had there at that time. And we're talking in the early 70s. So I understand when I went back to the school at noon and realized I said, shh, we live in the Stone Age over here, you know. But it is what it was, and you know, there's nothing we can do. But today we need to do better. And I've talked about this earlier about on an earlier show that we talked about not having sidewalks at the high school now. The kids are walking in the grass and the mud and on the side of the street on the highway trying to get to a high school. We must address that as well. We must.
No kidding. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We do.
I'm going to be a drum major on that and try to get this done.
So can we talk just a bit about what we can do as citizens?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's one, change begins with me. And every person has to recognize that. Think about what you yourself can do by presenting yourself as a role model to those people around you, being respectful of everyone, calling out inappropriate action for people, teaching our children how to behave within our society so that they don't get into trouble, and then meeting together. We've got to find ways that we have community-wide meetings. The first one happened on Sunday. Let's hope that every week, someplace, someone will be calling a meeting, and include all segments of our population, include the religious diversity, include the race, the racial diversity, the ethnic diversity, include us all, because it's only when we get to know one another and realize there are no differences between us. Pigment of skin is ridiculous to compare someone. The beliefs in a religion are ridiculous to compare someone and to think badly of one over the other.
Absolutely.
That's not what our religions teach us. It's not what Jesus Christ taught us as Christians. And I think that if we can begin to act the way that we talk and preach and hope, then I think we can begin to heal our community and pull ourselves together.
I agree, and also I agree with which I agree to that. But we must organize, and we must. Not everybody can do. We need more, and we need to connect more.
Yes, yes.
We do that. We burn it. We burn it the old grass. So what we can do is and I know I didn't even know anything about the meeting on Sunday. So this is the things we got to do. We got to connect. And once we connect, then we need to organize. And then we got to organize. We got to plan. We've got to have a strategy plan going forward.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now, I know that you worked very well with the Black Caucus, with John Conyers of Michigan and
John Lewis,
Maxine Waters and Sheila Jackson Lee. Do you still talk with them about the chaos that's going on right now?
Right now?
Right now.
In Congress. And it's not just about the Black Caucus. Many of them have been around long enough, thank goodness, to be real leaders in the Congress. Mm-hmm. And I'm impressed with my friendships with some of the ladies and gentlemen who are there. And they're a blessing. And I don't hesitate to say that. The division has come politically. We talked a little bit about it a while ago. people have found hot button issues to light up someone's interest. If you back up several decades, you know that the issue of abortion was used by the Republican Party to begin to split people away from the Democratic Party. I don't think any of us are for abortions, but it was used in a manner that caused people to think that voting Democratic was not a good thing to do. And it's been such an inappropriate thing to happen. Today, they're using race. We're trying to pit hard supporters of white supremacy against black supporters, and sometimes are the black race, and sometimes they're calling them names as extremists. That's inappropriate. We've got to pull people together. We've got to find some way to create the unity that is going to answer the issues of division. And one of those issues, for example, are these Confederate statues. They are offensive to people. Whether or not they're offensive to me is not the issue. If it's offensive to someone and we can do something about it, it should be done. My family happened to have not been in the United States except for a little more than 100 years. So part of that history we had not participated in, and I only have knowledge of it because of the history books. If we all study history, if we all learn what has happened to our friends and neighbors through the course of the history of the United States of America, then perhaps we would begin to behave differently toward them all. And I think that's what I hope will continue to happen. These folks in the Congress, some of them are true leaders willing to speak up, and we have to speak up. And I have no problem with protests, not violence. I don't think any of us can condone any level of violence. And I don't believe that the looters are protesters. They're thieves, and they need to be called out for what they are. If anyone sees something like that happening, then please be a good citizen and call it out and stop it. Protests can change the world. Protests can extend our hands in friendship and make sure that white hands are in black hands and black hands are in white hands. And that's what I'm hoping that I'll see happen in my lifetime, and that we could quit looking at people with color, that our police departments will function in the same manner as our churches function, for the people, for the love of people. I don't know how to better answer your question.
That's good enough. That is Nick, and you are really accepted here in the Golden Triangle, and I can't thank you enough for what you have done already, and also growing our young adults. We're trying to grow them into a position to be able to take the baton and move on. Now, I know. Tell me, Congressman, would you go back and help get things right for us in Washington, D.C.?
Would I go back and help what now?
Yeah, would you go back to D.C. if you had the opportunity to go back to D.C.?
I would love to be in Congress. It was a fascinating time. There were many good things that happened. Unfortunately, the relationships with people deteriorated over the 10 years that I served in the Congress, and people began to push themselves further and further away, and therefore line up partisanly. And if a Democrat made a proposal, the Republicans felt they had to oppose it. And if the Republicans made a proposal, then the Democrats thought they had to oppose it. So we've got to listen to the people, and the people have to speak to the issues that they believe in. If we will talk about the specific things that make our community better, if we'll talk about the specific policy on a police department, if we'll talk about the specific manner to improve the economy of a community, if we'll talk about the specific way to solve gerrymandering, which is a terrible thing for our nation and for our democracy, if we talk specifically about those as issues and leave the party alone, we will find answers to our issues. We will find solutions to our issues, and we'll make our life better because of it.
Yes, you are right. And since you were saying about the gerrymandering and the redlining, what is the boundaries of the District 22?
District, well, let me get the District 9 is where, I mean, District 14 is where we are now because of all of the.
I'm sorry, 14. I'm sorry.
Okay, 14 is where we live in Jefferson County, and Jefferson County includes Jefferson, a very tiny part of Chambers, uh, uh, Galveston County, and Brazoria County below it. We're a coastal district now, and District 9 is now a district way on the other side of Houston, and Al Green holds that district at the
Right,
number 9.
right.
The ground is still here. But the gerrymandering that occurred was done for political purposes. It was done to move several white male Democrats, of which I was one, Martin Frost, uh, Jim, I can't even think of their names right now. I'm sorry, but there were 7 of us who were attacked, came after by Tom DeLay,
Right.
and only 2 of them won. 5 of us lost those races. The whole purpose of doing that was to strengthen the political support of the Republican majority in the House of Representatives in the year 2004. It was the only way they were able to maintain their majority and therefore maintain the speakership during the time that Newt Gingrich was the Speaker of the House. Now, those were things that led to bad policy. When you have a lopsided control of something and you don't have a way for the minority to let their voice be heard, then you're going to have rancor. You're going to likely have protests and objection. And sometimes those objections will become loud. And that's why I said a while ago, I don't object to protests. I think that is a part of democracy. And if we're going to be suppressed, then we need to raise our voices in order to be heard. I have no problem with that. That is a part of our politics. It's the way we have lived in America. And because of it, we have pushed our body politic to the middle of the political spectrum, not at the extremes, not far left or far right. And because of that, for 200 years of our history, we built the strongest economy, the strongest democracy, and the strongest middle class in the history of the world. And what we're doing right now is tearing that apart. And we're pushing us further and further and further to the right and to the left. And if we allow it to continue to happen, we won't have the democracy that we have been talking about and enjoying for so many years.
Thank you, Nick. Excuse me. You know, since we're talking about the redistricting, let me ask you why it's so important for 2020 census.
Oh, the census is a way to allocate votes to a community. The size of community and the number of people who are there ultimately decides one person, one vote. You've heard that all through the course of our history. We're supposed to have strength in that one vote. Each congressional district has approximately 750,000 people in it, and it can only vary by about 1 or 2/10% from congressional district to congressional district all across the whole United States of America. Knowing where people are apportioned, where they have moved, and we move a lot in this nation. So every 10 years, our Constitution requires that there be a census. And the whole purpose of it is to decide where the people are and how those votes will be allocated district by district across the country to make it fair, to make each person's vote equal to another person's vote. And in addition to the voting part of the census, then it's also used by the government to allocate support for communities in road building finances and money and other activities like that. It's the way, it's a means of equalizing community support from the federal government due to the location of population.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't it about 16,000 per person on the 2020 census?
That it costs? I
Yeah.
don't. I don't know. We're spending a lot of money on it, and
Right.
if people will just step up and watch when it's time for the census, be the one to get on the computer or be the one to get on the telephone and give the information that you have. When someone knocks on your door, be ready, willing, and able to tell them your name and who lives there. Don't be afraid. There's not anything that can happen to you. It is illegal for census information to be used in any untoward way toward any individual. It's all about helping community know where community is, and it builds the strength of community because of it.
And those census are, I have on the screen right now. The census is for federal funding, congressional representation, funding for new schools,
Yes, sir.
roads, and more. People, we must sign up for the 2020 census.
Absolutely. Please.
It's October the 15th, if I'm correct.
It is.
Yes, we've got to get a head start and get started on that census 2020.
So let me tell you one thing that happened here in Jefferson County. Remember Hurricane Imelda? We lost so much population. People started being shipped out of our county, particularly from Port Arthur area when Port Arthur flooded. We lost over 10,000 citizens. If we don't show strength in our census numbers for Jefferson County, then if we fall below 250,000, and our population has been hanging around 252 for a long time, 252,000, when we lost 10,000 people, if we fall below 250,000, guess what happens to our taxes, y'all? They begin to go up to make up. That's the support that we get based on census data.
That is correct, and I correct myself. That's 1,600 per person on the census in the 2020 census. That it would affect us if we do not sign up and register on the 2020 census. People, those are watching right now in Jefferson County, or just Southeast Texas. Period. We must sign up for the 2020 census. If you don't have that been mailed to you or if someone has not contacted you, please contact Knowledge is Power by emailing me, inboxing me, or texting me, whatever you have to do. We're going to get that form to you so you can sign up. This is why we have this show. Knowledge is Power. This is our voice, our platform.
I'm impressed. It's a good voice, and I think you're doing a wonderful job, Tony, and I congratulate you for the work that you are doing and wish you extremely well in making it grow into something that's huge.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nick. But listen, I've got a few more questions. I've got, I see my friends in backstage. I got a couple more guests backstage, but we're going to stay with you, Nick, for a little bit more minute, okay? You were the founder of the Congressional Missing and Exploited Children Caucus. What about the information? What is about the formation of that right now? What kind of impact it's made nationwide?
Unfortunately, oftentimes, if there's not a champion for a particular issue in Congress, it begins to dwindle in its strength, and that's part of what happened to the caucus for missing and exploited children. There's not someone who had the passion that I had for it when I was there. I began to work on it. I chose to pull people together to join this caucus when a little girl in our district was abducted and murdered, and it was such a heinous crime that I went back and vowed that we would make a difference. And we passed many laws. We strengthened the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We grew an International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We actually had an impact on changing laws between nations that were abducting our children away from the United States to theirs. At the time, the country that had probably the worst record of any country of abducting children from the United States to their country was Germany. And I worked with the members of the German Bundestag. I actually became the chairman of an interparliamentary assembly between the German Bundestag, which is their Congress, and our United States Congress. And as that chairman, I was able to work with their members, raise their level of awareness, and along with President Clinton at the time, we got them to change their laws. And what I learned was after telling many ugly stories about children being abducted from the United States and doing everything that I could to say ugly things about the German Bundestag, I found out that when I joined this caucus and I got close to some of their members and we started reaching our hands out in friendship, that we got a lot more done with an open hand saying, shake mine, rather than a fist saying, I don't like you. So friendship counts. Treating people with respect and enticing them to sit down with you to discuss solutions to our issues in a respectful manner is what changes the world. And we changed the world, Tony, and I'll always be eternally grateful for the support that the citizens showed me to allow me to have that happen.
Okay, with Nick Lampson, the former congressman of the 22nd District of Texas, with me tonight on Knowledge is Power. Yeah, I am so glad to have you, Nick. I've got a couple of more questions, and we're going to move on to the NAACP with Michael Cooper and A.J. Turner and Miss Natasha Simon, who's handling the with the Youth Council of the NAACP. But Nick, tell us a little bit about the economic development in Jefferson County and what part the Port of Beaumont will play with that.
Port of Beaumont is a strategic port. It's one of the busiest ports in the United States of America. What makes it strategic is the role that it plays with the military. We have an Army base. Many people don't even know that. But there's an Army base that has been created at the Port of Beaumont. And the two big ships that are parked there close to the courthouse are specialized ships that are waiting and ready to haul military equipment to anywhere in the world where there might be a conflict. And it's strategic with the railroads, highways, and airways between bases, the Fort Polk and Fort Hood, to move the equipment from those bases here to the Port of Beaumont, put on those ships, and sent down the Neches River and out across the world wherever they may need to go. We also produce a very large quantity of the fuel that is used by the military worldwide here in our refineries. So that creates a huge amount of economic activity for us. And consequently, because of all of that stuff that's happening in the petrochemical industry, then it creates many other businesses around us to support it. So our economy is still thriving. I think that if we had the foresight to diversify more from petrochemical, not saying do away with any of our petrochemical activity, let it continue to grow, encourage it more, but to reach out to other kinds of businesses and industry and grow them, maybe enticing some type of artificial intelligence or computer kind of industry into our area, growing our educational activities that we have in our wonderful Lamar University and the system in both Port Arthur, Orange, as well as Beaumont. If we can do those kinds of things, have the right leadership that causes us to want to see greater opportunity for our citizenry, then perhaps our children won't have to go to other cities to look for opportunity when they finish high school or college and begin to seek jobs. We're losing too much of our future leadership, our brain power, because opportunity is greater in other places. And while we're talking economic power, one of the things that adds to the economy is the entertainment support. If we don't provide quality kinds of entertainment for our citizens to enjoy and to be able to keep their families together after they work, then we'll lose people for that reason as well. So to me, it's vision, and vision becomes leadership. We have to be able to look at other communities and see what they're doing. There's no reason in the world why we can't accomplish the things that we dream of right here in Beaumont, Texas.
Hey, man, Nick, you took the words out of my mouth on that last verse there. I tell you, you are absolutely correct. We have to have a vision, and that vision is to we got to have a vision. And what you said about what we need is entertainment. We need We need to keep our own homegrown young ones here that's been educated here. We need to keep them here without they're going somewhere else because it's better there than it is here. This area has been stagnant for so long, and that comes from leadership, a lack of leadership.
Agreed. Don't know what else to say. I agree with you.
Thank you, Nick Lampson, everyone. Nick Lampson, former Congressman Nick Lampson. I can't say it enough. Nick Lampson, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony. And I can't wait to hear what all the NAACP has to do. I was with Michael Cooper just the other day, and I'm proud of what the NAACP is doing for our community. Continue to grow, continue to be active, continue to encourage people to participate, and we're going to see positive things happen. I'm excited about that.
Don't go nowhere, Nick. I got a few of them right here.
How are you, Pastor?
Hey. All right, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
How you doing?
It's Cooper Luke, Michael Luke.
Hey, watch out there now. Yeah, we're actually in the office here, so we're practicing social distancing. So we have our mask on. Plus, Sister Natasha, she'd get on us if we didn't have our mask on.
Oh, come on.
How you doing?
Natasha. Hello, Natasha.
Hi.
Natasha. Hey, guys.
She's a jewel of the NAACP right there, boy.
Good. Hey, I got to say something about your mask, if you'll forgive me for 1 second. The governor put out a statement today talking about his concern about the numbers, that we're misinterpreting numbers of people that are contracting COVID, the coronavirus, COVID-19. And in my opinion, it came across as an irresponsible statement. And so I want to remind people, all we have to do is do exactly what you're doing right now. In that room, you're practicing social distancing, you're wearing a mask. Whenever we're in public, we must concentrate on our personal responsibility to protect each other, and don't get off center and saying that our economy is more important. Yes, our economy is important, but our lives are important, and our health is important. And if we take the precautions that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, is teaching us, and then we be the role models, we won't have to worry about how many people are in the hospital. They won't get sick.
That's right.
Absolutely. And he's absolutely correct, because I just had another conversation with Commissioner BEAUMONT, and he confirmed the same thing.
Good.
Confirmed the same thing.
Good.
Absolutely. And with that being said,
good leadership.
I can't hardly hear you, Mike. You gotta put that mask down.
Can you hear me?
Put that mask down. Yeah.
No, I gotta leave it on. Because I'm in the office here, y'all. Wait. This is our first vice president, Miss Bobby. Can y'all see her?
Yeah, I can pull up. Hey, Miss Bobby. Hey, Miss Bobby.
How you doing?
Good to see you, my love.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Congressman.
Hello. How are you?
Hello, Natasha. Just
Good.
saw you a little bit ago.
I can hear you too. I hear you better. I can hear Zorro. I mean, Michael.
Great to be alive and well these days.
Yeah, good to see you. Michael, tell me a little bit about your new, tell me what's going on with the NAACP right now. What are you guys?
Well, right now we're just trying to catch our breath, because it seems like every 2 days is something that we have to deal with and attack. You say you can't hear me, sis?
It's hard. You're muffling.
Yeah, that's because it's hard with this mask, because we have other people in the office here. We have Pastor Torrey. Pastor Torrey, he's right there. So again, we're trying to practice. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very little, but I can hear you.
There's our media director, administrative assistant. This guy does everything that we need him to do here. We appreciate it. But can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. But yeah, when it comes to the things like the shooting in Wendy's, when the young man just was falling asleep in the drive-through line, my phone rings off the hook. You know, I don't need social media anymore to find out what's going on. My phone tells me, because everybody's calling. Pastor, did you see it? What do you think about that? When you have the George Floyd, now we've passed 40 days of protesting, and thank God it's more peaceful protests than the rioting. It seems like the media, they love bad news media, and they're reporting the riots more than they reporting the protests. And what I like is that in Vidor, Texas, we had a young lady by the name of Maddie. she called the NAACP office and invited us over to Vidor, Texas. When somebody extend an olive branch to you, our job is to respond, no matter what the masses think. And so because of this young millennial, 23 years of age, Miss Maddie, I too have a Miss Maddie, and she cried the whole entire time that we went over as NAACP, and we were welcomed to Vidor, Texas, the same place 25 years ago that they burned a cross in that same park. But that same park, love and peace overcame evil and hate. Let me say that again. In that same park, love and peace overcame evil and hate. And I was met with open arms by my friend, Chief Rod Carroll. Now, a lot of people are upset with me because I have friends that are chief of police. A lot of people are upset because I have relationships with folks like that. But because of those relationships, and I heard Congressman Nick Lampson, y'all can call him former Congressman Nick Lampson. I call him Congressman Nick Lampson, my friend. Hey, brother AJ, good to see you. He was just at another meeting.
How y'all doing, man? How y'all
All
doing?
right, we doing double time. We got everybody y'all see on this page right now. Y'all, they've been working behind the scenes, now they're in front of the scenes. So I'm excited. And matter of fact, I like the way that you have a position there, brother Tony. They're the wind beneath my wings. They keep me going right now. So we're excited about that. But Congressman Lampson was just talking about earlier about relationships. And it's because of relationships that we can get things done. And so instead of tearing down relationships, we're trying to build those relationships. So when Miss Willis calls me out of Lumberton, Texas, and say we want to come over to Lumberton and bring peace and love, y'all, that's what we brought and that's what we left. We left peace and love in Lumberton, Texas, and Vidor, Texas. A lot of people said they didn't want to see us come. But watch this. When we got there, people started saying they didn't want to see us go.
And we need that same love and peace right here in Beaumont, Texas. How about
Well,
that?
we here, Tony. We with you all the time. What you talking about? Don't be selfish, Tony. Share us.
Wait, tell me this. And where are we going now? Where are we going from here? What's the next step?
Well, we're going exactly what you see there. We're going towards the youth. You see, Brother AJ Turner, he's our new executive director. You see, Sister Natasha Simon. She's working with our youth council. She's also working with the WIN program. She's working with the banquet program. Matter of fact, y'all, I hate to say what else she's doing because when she volunteered for something else, I don't want to exclude her. I want to include her because I need her.
Yeah.
She keeps us in line.
I was telling her earlier when I contacted her, I wanted her on with her youth. But my shows have been booked up every week and every month here the next couple of months. And I wanted to squeeze her in here. So I said, well, let me add her to the program if it wasn't too late. But I want to talk about
I was going to say real quick, I want to give you an update here with our first vice president and also former president. She was interim when Paul Jones stepped down and did a wonderful job, magnificent job. She also is a support in the backbone of this community. So, Ms. Brenda Spive, I want you to give about 30 seconds or so, and then after that, I want to hear from Pastor Torrey. Well, we just had a meeting, and he brought up some great points about things that we need to continue doing in this community. But one of those things is that he helps me get out communications and efforts like that, amongst other things. But anyway, I'm going to turn the camera over here because she's going to have to leave in a minute. We don't want to keep her here all night because we keep some long hours here. Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's why I don't walk with y'all. Y'all march too long.
Yeah, we don't need all these all night shows and all night meetings.
Yeah, I'm getting paid overtime.
Yeah.
Miss Spider, talk to us, please.
Well, just a quick little word to say I'm so proud of you with this opportunity to put us all in the right commission in terms of your program here and giving everybody a chance to speak up and speak fairly about what's going on in our community.
Yes.
The branch is on the move for making things better and trying to improve our community and bring unity to the community. Without unity, there is no community.
Absolutely.
And I say that because that has been our theme for a lot of years. Coming up this weekend, we're going to be involved in some more unity in the community this Friday night on June the 19th out in the MLK Park. We want to make sure everybody takes an opportunity to come out to that. There'll be some more unity in the community. We'll be talking about some history where did the 19th of June actually come from? What is that really all about? So we're gonna do a little education on out of the park on MLK, out at the MLK Park Friday, about 6:30ish. So we invite everybody to come out. We want to give a shout out to everyone to come out and learn a little bit about the 19th of June. And then of course, putting on your schedule and making sure you're gonna be there that night in December. We're looking at our Freedom Fund banquet, December the 18th.
Yes,
At the
yes,
Civic Center, same time, same station.
yeah.
Joe
Well,
Madison.
that's right.
Joe Madison will be our speaker for this year, and we'll be talking about, are you woke? Are you woke, Tony? Are you
Yeah.
woke, Tony? Are you woke? With that,
I'm
I'll say
learning.
good night to you.
That's Joe Madison, the Black Eagle on XM Sirius Radio, that would be with the guest speaker for the NAACP Freedom Fund Banquet, December the 18th. That's correct. That's right. You
That
guys
that
Correct.
get the
that
picture.
is correct. Hey, listen, Tony, I'm gonna let you talk to Pastor Tori, and then after that, we're gonna let the youthful folks take over. We're gonna sign off, and we're gonna let you finish up with Sister Natasha and our executive director AJ Turner. Okay?
All right. Thanks very much, guys.
I don't want to talk to Mr. Tony. He has not invited me to come on the show.
Hey, man. How are you?
How y'all doing?
How are you,
Listen,
nephew?
ladies and gentlemen, we're grateful with the adjustments and changes that is being made across, not just locally, but across the globe. And listen, we want people to understand that the NAACP is here to stay, and NAACP is here to continue to help in our community where it's needed. And where it's most so needed is to go into the trenches and go on highways and byways, help those and bring our brothers back to our first love.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, Tony, with that being said, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to leave it in the hands, very capable hands. Matter of fact, they headed up the meeting tonight. So I'm going to go take a nap because I need one. I'm not as youthful as I once was. So I used to run 24/7. Now I just run 24/6.5.
All right. All right.
But anyway,
So,
with that being said, I'm going to sign off, Tony.
hey, look, this morning, I'm not going to talk about you wearing that glove, that mask, but I know you're embarrassed to wear that mask in the public, but remember, a lot of you are wearing cowboy jerseys too.
Bro, really? You know what? You're going to make me stay on here. You're going to make me, you don't want none of this. See ya.
Have a good day, babe. All right, guys. AJ Turner and Mrs. Naacp Simon with the NAACP Youth and Council. Tell us about the Youth Council, number 6799, Natasha.
Yes. Once again, my name is Natasha Simon. I am the youth advisor for the Beaumont branch, NAACP. We're located in Beaumont, Texas. Our email address is youthcouncilbmt@gmail.com. And our phone number is 409-842-0294. And our office is located in the Compro Event Center. That's 4155 West Cardinal, Suite B, here in Beaumont as well. A little bit about our youth council. Our youth council is for persons ages 10 through 20, and we engage in group activities as well as age-appropriate activities. The NAACP, it strongly believes that future leaders must be developed today. Youth and young adults have always been at the forefront of most major social movements. We teach our youth leadership skills, and more importantly, how to teach others to become leaders. I truly believe that you're not a good leader if you can't produce other good leaders.
Amen.
We also discuss and teach our youth right now life skills. For example, cooking, laundering, paying bills, the importance of voting, and the importance of the census. And we hope that the things that we teach them they'll carry on into their adult life. We meet once a month, the second Sunday of each month, usually at 4 p.m. in the NAACP office. Our next meeting will be July 14th, but it will be a virtual meeting. I'm still not very sure on gathering with the younger children. So we'll do virtual. If you're interested in attending, you can email us or you can follow us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is NAACP Youth Council, Beaumont, Texas branch. Let's see. We also try to meet every other month or so outside of the office to give the youth an opportunity to get to know one another. Normally, when we meet in the office, we're taking care of business. So we'll meet at the bowling alley. That's where we have met. We've only had one time to meet. I plan on doing the mall, maybe water parks or something, just something where the children can interact and get to know one another. This is also a time that they can bring family and friends to see if they're interested in being a part of our awesome youth council. We volunteer in the community alongside churches, organizations, businesses, and even families. The students, well, not everybody are students, but I'll say our members, everyone receives service hours for participating. Volunteer hours look great on scholarships, application, and job applications. It's never too early to start. I have some people, their children are in middle school and they're like, well, we don't need this. It's better to accumulate it, because when I'm on the scholarship committee, and that's something that we look at, the numbers of hours that the children volunteer in the community. That's usually the number one thing that we look at on the applications. Once again, they're required for college applications and scholarship applications. Beaumont branch NAACP also offers scholarships for the youth council members. You have to be a youth council member in order to be eligible for this scholarship that's offered by the branch. Applications can be picked up at the NAACP office. You can also join online. The thing about joining online, you have to make sure that you put our unit number in, the 6799. If you don't put in the unit number, they're going to enroll you at large, and the branch doesn't get credit for you being a member. The membership fee, a portion of it goes to nationals and a portion of it stays right here in our branch. So that's why it's so important to put the unit number. And for the adults, it's $61.54. Membership fees are $10 and $15. The $15 membership includes a crisis magazine, a subscription to the crisis magazine, and it's the official publication for the NAACP. It's a journal of civil rights, history, politics, and culture, and a lot more. We are looking to become unified with other branches in the surrounding areas, as well as other youth organizations. Beaumont, Texas NAACP Youth Council is a diverse youth council. People assume that NAACP is a Black organization, but the NAACP was formed by Blacks and whites that wanted change for African Americans. We cannot obtain change until we become unified. Like Mr. Lampson said, we get more done when we come together. Do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions about the Youth Council?
No, Tasha, you are doing a wonderful job, and we appreciate you, what you're doing, and the time that you put and the effort that you put into it. You're awesome, and I want all the parents that's out there listening and watching, get your kids involved. I was involved in the youth council back when the YMCA was on Nature Street downtown, on Nature's and Forsyth, and I didn't know what it was all about, but when I got involved in it, then I realized how important it was just to be in the NAACP, in the youth council. So, and it kept us occupied. It taught us, and we learned a lot. So, and we had great leaders back there. Now we still have good leaders in you, Tasha, and everybody from the NAACP Youth Council number 6799. Please, people, if you're watching, share with your friends, neighbors, and loved ones, and let them know that we've got activities going on here in Beaumont, Texas, that the youth can get involved in. And one more question before I move on to AJ Turner. Natasha, what age bracket? What's the age on joining the council now?
Yes, ages 10 to 20. Also, I want to add that we are planning a trip to Washington, D.C. It will be for, of course, the youth council members only. We're planning on going a few at a time. So we'll be fundraising. We are accepting donations. We're going to the African American Museum there.
Oh, I might need to be a chaperone on that one.
Speaking of
Yes,
chaperones,
Yeah.
do you have chaperones that are set up? And do you have someone in Washington who is sort of acting as a guide and opening doors for the places where you want to go?
Yes, sir. But if you have some, I'm open to hear whatever you have.
You and I ought to talk. One of the local schools asked me to go with them as a chaperone because they had a difficult time getting into the Capitol, and I brought that group onto the floor of the House of Representatives, and it was a significant opportunity for the kids. We probably ought to talk and see if I can't be of some help to you.
Yes, I will definitely be in touch.
All right, AJ Turner.
My man, Tony Renfro, how's it going, man?
I'm good. Turn your mic up a little bit so we can hear you a little bit. You're a little far off there. Come on with it. Come on. You're not with T-Mobile. You're not with T-Mobile, are you?
There you go.
All right.
You know I'm not with no T-Mobile, man.
Tell AJ, close us out. Tell us about the big the big event this Friday at downtown
Man.
park. And let them know where that
June
park is.
19th, man. June 19th.
Know where that park is.
Well, the MLK Park is downtown Beaumont, right by Martin Luther King. It's like right over the pavilion, the path.
Next door to St. Anthony Catholic Church.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Well, June 19th is definitely a holiday that a lot of people should be proud of, particularly African Americans. We invite everyone to learn and come out to see about our culture, our heritage. We'll have food vendors. We'll have a live DJ. We have guest speakers. We're giving away prizes. We're giving away money. We're going to do the works, man. We encourage everyone to come with your mask on, because we are practicing social distancing, but we're going to be outside, so there's plenty of space. So we encourage everyone to come with your mask on. We will be giving away masks for free, too, at the event. But June 19th is definitely something we need to celebrate, be proud of, especially with our culture, our heritage, and our history, and what's going on in today's society. This is important to celebrate, especially for the African American culture.
I've had a couple of vendors contact me in the last few days and want to be able to. What information can I share with them to join in for Friday?
All vendors interested, we're asking for a $100 donation. We're only asking for a donation because that's going to go back to the NAACP.
Okay.
We're asking for a $100 donation. If you can't afford to give the donation, that's perfectly fine. We want you to still come out and meet the people and have an opportunity to get your products and goods and services out to the community so you can get some support.
All right.
You can reach us at 409-659-0053 or inbox the NAACP Facebook page.
Now they can go online to Facebook page and ask for requests for entry in the Juneteenth festival on Friday, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Great. I'll pass that word on. Anything else that AJ you would like to share with us?
Nick Lampson, you're a hero, bro.
Man,
Keep doing what you're doing. And
I love y'all.
Man. Tony, I'm proud of you, big bro. I'm proud of you. We family. A lot of people don't even know that, but I'm proud of you, Tony.
They don't.
You're using your platform, bro.
Oh man, we're gonna use it. We're gonna misuse. We're gonna use it and get the word out. We're gonna get the word out. We're gonna bless others. We're gonna be a blessing. This is our voice. This is our voice going forward. But the thing key is this deal. What we have to do is unity. We got to come together. We got to come together strong. We got to connect to make this thing happen. So let's not lose. Don't lose the enthusiasm you guys have right now. Let's keep the energy going. Let's move forward. Nick, man, my favorite congressman. Man, I appreciate you stopping by and visiting with me. And we're gonna do this
Tony,
again.
thank you for asking. It's a pleasure to join all of you. I look forward to continuing to play my little role in our community.
That's it. And the
Well, Nick, hopefully you can make it Friday if you're in town.
I'll try to come by there. I'll try to come by.
Thank you.
Natasha,
For 10 years, I was on the steps of now I don't know the name of the building on Broadway in Galveston, where the proclamation was read. That was in the district that I represented, and I was able to play a pretty major role in the events that occurred there every year. Always a proud day.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, we really appreciate you, Nick. And also, Natasha, you make the screens eye softener. You make it easy on the eyes. You make it easy on my eyes, baby. Anyway,
she's icing on the cake.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining the Knowledge is Power. Hey, catch me Sunday. Sunday's Father's Day, but catch me Sunday at night at 7:30 right here on Knowledge is Power on Facebook Live and YouTube. Thank you very much, guys. God bless you.
Peace. See you.